Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFLW Fantasy Fanatics pre-lockout chat ahead of round 12, the final round of the season. It has come very quickly, and it's gone very quickly as well. Sort of surprised that we're already at round 12, but we are at the last dance. I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials. And joining me, as always, as he has all season long, and as he will be continuing into 2027 for both AFL and AFLW Fantasy, it is Tom Hales. Tom, mate, how are you? How's your week been?
2027. Am I on a 2-year deal? 2026, hopefully.
Yeah. Well,
very good. Very good.
Contract's just been extended just in the intro. So
yeah,
there you
go. Exactly. So thanks. I'll have a word about my pay rise, but no, I'm very good. Excited for the final round. Excited for my West Coast Eagles to make finals by beating Carlton tomorrow night, and excited to. I'm not going, unfortunately. I'm unfortunately busy, but it's an exciting round for lots of people apart from myself. I'm playing for nothing, so I want to have some fun with my trades this
week. You're saying you're playing for nothing, mate. I'm probably not playing for too much either, to be honest, unless I can have I don't know if Liam is tuning in at the moment, but if he is, I need that luck that you've had the last 2 weeks, finishing 1st and 7th weekly. I need something like that. I need that, and I need everything to go my way, and the players I don't have to score poorly if I'm a chance of getting a hat. So it's probably a 1% chance, right? But yeah, it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. I'm still optimistic, but yeah, I don't think I'll be getting one this year. Hopefully in 2026, hopefully 2026 or 2027, but hopefully 2026 first. Let's get stuck into the teams because they have dropped. So we'll go through game by game. We'll just chat through any sort of relevant players in or out, and then we'll go through our trades after and do all the usual stuff, and then answer all your questions. So if you are tuning in live, chuck your questions in the comments or the live chat next year, and then you can get your questions answered a little bit later on. So Hawthorn and North Melbourne got the first game, which is starting in pretty much exactly a day from where we are. So 24 hours from here, from where we're recording, is when it'll be starting. Hawthorn, no changes for them. And North Melbourne, Jenna Bruton, Taylor Gatt, and Emma Carney come in. Kate Shearlaw managed. Probably a lot of people were expecting that one. Vicky Wall also managed, but I think she copped a bit of a knock last week, so maybe just a bit of a rest there as well. And then Ella Slocombe also out, omitted there with a few strong ins for North Melbourne. Just quickly before, probably the main one here, Tom, is Emma Carney. Any interest in potentially bringing her in for one game, or do you just think that this could just be a game where she still manages 60% and scores like a 70?
Yeah. I think round 12 we are playing find the ceiling game. I just don't see a ceiling game for Emma in this, just due to restricted TOG.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'd be looking at a couple of other options as well. And if you've got any of those Hawthorn players, I think a lot of them will be traded out by us this week, bar to Lucas Rod. So moving to the next game, West Coast and Carlton, which is doubleheader tomorrow night. I do like the doubleheaders on Friday night, if I'm being honest. I like a couple of games, not just the one. I still like Thursday night footy as well. So maybe Thursday night, doubleheader Friday, then there'll be overlapping games. So that'd be a good fix for the AFL if they want to do that for the fixturing. West Coast bring in Abigail Bushby, Sarah Lakai, Belinda Smith, and Ella Roberts is back in after a late out last week. So very, very big for West Coast.
Hello.
Yeah, Michaela Weston out injured. I think she injured herself at training. I think it was
she did
a couple of days ago. So yeah, she's out. Jess Wrench out with suspension. Lucy Boyd out omitted, and Annabelle Johnson also omitted there. So obviously Ella Roberts back in is great. I think the one I'm looking there for my own team is Emma Swanson is named on the ball again. So whether I just hold for another week or not, I don't know.
Well, so Roberts and Wrench will swap roles. Wrench played on ball last week. Roberts will just come in and take that role. It's whether because Abigail Bushby's been playing some on ball time,
And then Belinda Smith
and
comes
with
in as well.
and Belinda Smith, and with Lucy Boyd and Annabelle Johnson, two defenders, are out. Whether that sees, I've not seen teams, so I've just got home from work and jumped on. So I'm also
this is
in
all
the
live live
this is live reaction. I need to have a quick, or you carry on with the teams. I'll discuss it. We'll discuss it after.
Yeah, exactly. Carlton, couple of big ins for them. Mimi Hill and Abby Mackay back in for them. Keely Skepper omitted, and Siofra O'Connell also omitted there. So a couple of outs for Carlton, but some big ins in the midfield for Carlton. So should we make up for a good contest tomorrow night? GWS and Port Adelaide. GWS have made one change. Claire Ransom comes in and Viv Sard's out. So Zoe Goldsworthy is being named. She's been named in the team after walking in the moon, but she's been named on ball. So at least the positive for us is that she is named. This game's early in the round, so we'll be able to know if there's any layout or not. So I'll come back to that in a sec. And then Julia Teakle comes in for Chloe Gaunt. Tom, Zali Goldsworthy, right? I'm shocked that she's named after the injury and then the moon boot and everything like that. We just thought it was them. But and when Giants saw as a test, I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. And now she's been named. Where do you sit with that? Is it still is it just as simple as she's named? She's a hold. Are you worried about? Because I'm worried about some deep forward time here with that injury, and she'll just play deep forward, final game of the year, and she'll score low. So I'm still potentially looking at trading. So what are your thoughts with Goldsworthy?
I haven't yet decided whether the trade or the hold goes against the crowd.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, right? Is that she's been named. So it's like, because I'm trying to think like, right, because I'm trying to make a bit of ground, and I'm thinking, well, she's named. Does that mean everyone's going to hold? So I'd pivot off and trade and try and get the leg up maybe there. But
yeah, I find it I don't. My 1 point, I think I would hold, just because how many players do you think will actually score 70 in the forward line?
Yeah, I think you probably got maybe, I'll probably say 5 off the top of the dome. That would probably, you go Hodder, Ham, you go Woodland, you go Mullins, and probably say still 2 good as well. They're the 5 for me. But I think
I'm not like, If you're a spare trade, I don't mind like a sidewaysy one to a big dog forward. But I don't think I'm going Goldsworthy down unless that's your cash grab to do other good things on the other side. Because obviously, if you trade her and she plays midfield and goes 120, which she has done in the past this year, then you've lost. You've lost ground.
Yeah.
But if she plays full forward and scores a 50, and you trade her out to someone who goes an 80, I think the propensity for it to go wrong by trading is more than it going wrong by holding. So I think I would hold, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, because we'll chat trades after, but I think for my own team, Gilroy and Stone will go for me, and then it comes down to, does Swanson go up or does Goldsworthy go to a big dog forward? That's probably what I'm tossing up. And you'd be silly but pretty thinking about it, but when you take into account the injury, it makes it probably a bit of a conversation. Moving to the next game, because I think that was it from that one there. So Richmond and Gold Coast. So Shelby Knowles come in for her debut for Richmond. Lulu Beattie has been dropped. And then Lauren Bella and Kiara Bishop come in for Wallace Randall and Taylor Gregory. So nothing too relevant fantasy-wise there, except for Shelby Knoll. If you need some cover, she's a basement. She listed as a ruck or a forward in the game. Let me have a quick look at that while we are recording.
She's a forward.
She's a 300k forward. So yeah. So if you're looking for 300k forward that's playing, then
that could be the Goldsworthy cover. If you've got no forward cover, you could be bringing. If you've got a downgrade,
if you're going for 300k forward from Richmond that you want as cover for Goldsworthy, it's probably Paige Scott. because they're 300k now as well. So you're probably going there instead if you're going for a Richmond forward for cover. Actually, Wes and Neve McLaughlin, has she been named at halfback? Yep, cool. That's where she's been named as well. Sydney and Essendon. So Sydney, Sophia Hurley comes in for Cynthia Hamilton, who's out injured, and then Brooke Sheridan comes in for Brooke Brown. So it'll be interesting to see with Sophia Hurley in there. How Laura Gardner goes. We saw a few lower scores by Laura Gardner's 130, 140 standards for a lot of the year when Sophia Hurley was there. So just be interesting to see how that does end with the season, particularly with Bombers being a bit of a not tough matchup for mids, but not as easy as what we probably think based on the ladder position. Geelong and Melbourne next game here. So Geelong unchanged, and then Melbourne, Denby Taylor and Georgia Gould come in for Gemma Rigoni and Molly O'Hare. So not too big fantasy relevance from those ins either. So we'll move to Sunday with the extended squads. Collingwood, Georgia Clark, Maureen Atkinson, Charlotte Taylor and Eliza James come in for Amber Shooty, who is it Shoot or Shooty? I always get mixed up with.
Either or.
Again, I know if Liam's tuning in, he'll let us know. I can't remember if it. I apologize.
I'm going to go with Shoot.
Yeah, I'm assuming it should, but yeah, I'm assuming it should. And then Brisbane, Rania Crozier, Ellie Hampson, and Sophie Peters are in, no outs for Brisbane in the extended squads. Just having a look there. Is there anything on the bench? Well, Sabrina Frederick's been named as the starting ruck. That's the third week in a row, I think, that she's been named that. So anyone that was looking at Barnett or looking at trading Barnett out, I think that's, I don't know about trading her in against Brisbane, but if you were looking at trading out, I think that's probably confirmation with that, along with Brisbane being a tough matchup. I think you can definitely move off of her. And also, Charlie Mullins has been named on the ball. So, if you're looking at Charlie Mullins as an in this week, she could go quite well against Collingwood. St Kilda and the Western Bulldogs. So, Lilu Hung, Charlotte Simpson, and Natalie Plain come in for St Kilda. No outs at this stage. And then Christy Lee Weston Turner, Naomi Ferris, Keely Hardingham, and Annalie McKee come in. Riley Wilcox is out injured. So if Hardingham comes in, that could be a few red dots turned into green dots this week, which may be annoyance to some people with one round to go if she does end up coming into the Dogs team. And then the final game, it's pretty good that this is the last game of the season because it's a huge fantasy relevant game. A lot of players here, Adelaide and Fremantle. But my favourite in here, as we do have a special guest jumping on, I'll just run through this last game. Adelaide, Chelsea Randall is back in, and I'm very, very happy as a Crows fan. I was starting to get a little bit concerned a few weeks out in the silence, but very happy she's in. Jess Allen is in, and she's named on field as the starting ruck. Kaylee Cronin, Amy Boyle-Carr, and Stevie Lee Thompson are in, with Neve Kelly out with concussion, and Brooke Smith has been dropped. And then Fremantle, Amy Mulholland, Holly Ifold, and Evie Parker are in for Fremantle. No outs at this stage as we welcome a very special guest from Free Kick, Liam. Liam, mate, how are you? Thanks for jumping on.
Not a problem, Bales. I'm pretty good. It's been a very busy week outside of AFLW and AFLW Fantasy stuff. I've got a spare, half an hour between finishing work and trying to get to a basketball game, and I've thought I'd just jump on, give a few thoughts here and there as I make my way through dinner that I've hastily prepared, and a few fascinating ins on the team sheets this week.
Yep, exactly. I think I've got to start off, though, before we get into any of those, with the fact that, obviously, thanks to Guesty, who's obviously on with us during the AFL Fantasy men's season. He is the creator of the AFL Fantasy Content Creators Cup, and we've used it in the AFLW Fantasy side of things for the last couple of years. And, Liam, you're in the grand final, and it's going to be a pretty interesting game between you and fellow top 20 coach in Eloise. And looking at the teams here, there aren't many changes or differences between the two teams. So how is that going to be working out? Have you discussed trades at all with Eloise this week, or have you been just keeping distance and going, I want to get the win over you in the Content Creators Cup grand final?
So I was very clear on Sunday night that if Zali Goldsworthy is out, the trades are very easy. It's Annabelle Johnson down to a 300K, Holly Egan, Zali Goldsworthy up to Courtney Hodder, and then I'll see if I need to, how much do I need to get cash wise? Do I need a looper in any line? or like a potentially fieldable score at any line, then I'll get that from Lauren Young. It's got to be below, like, I think 360 odd K. And I was very clear up front, that's what I was doing, with no intention in mind to be trying to make trades to match or not match or deviate from Eloise. And then I hear along the grapevine that Eloise has decided, I might just try and have our teams be exactly the same, so that all it comes down to is overall rank, which I think is outrageous. But apparently there's something in the water, because completely independently of that, Jono on the podcast this week goes, maybe I'll just try and make our teams the same so that you can't outrank me, which is outrageous. Where's your sense of competition, people? If it's worth winning, it's worth winning properly.
Yeah, that is.
No, it's just worth winning.
Yeah.
No, it's worth winning properly. Like, I don't want to be the person. You would be the person who would, man-cad 6 times in an over just to waste time so that you can win on Duckworth Lewis because you've wasted extra time during the game.
I am a POM. We are notoriously
but what about spirit of the game?
Cricket.
Spirit of the game. Spirit of cricket.
Exactly. It's all about the spirit of cricket. No. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very interesting. So I'm just looking here. So what's that? That's before trades, the difference between the two teams. I think is there 3 differences? If I've looked at 4 differences,
it's
2 in
Hodder
defence, 2
and
in forward line.
Hodder and Mullins, Chaplin and O'Driscoll. I'm trying to remember these off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I could actually just go and look.
2 good and Eardley, Mullins and Hodder, O'Driscoll and Chaplin. And I think that's it. I think it's 3.
That's it.
Yeah, the 3. Just the 3 changes. Yeah, so yeah, it could very well be the same team. So that'll be very interesting to see. But no, good luck to both of you guys in the grand final. You guys have been the 2, along with Jono, the 3 Senate coaches this year. It's funny because I was level with you 2, obviously, but I've had less points scored, all 9 and 2, and then Jono was 8 and 3, but I believe conceded one of the most points against in the league. So no, it's been very, very close this year, and good luck to both of you guys. But as we said, we'll go into like the ins and outs and the trades for this week. So Liam, you referred to your trades there, but Zali Goldsworthy's the big one. I'm in 2 minds here, because I'm like, well, she's named, like, she obviously still could be a ladder, but she plays. Is it just a lot of deep forward, or is she just going to be able to just go push through the pain if there is any, and still play midfield and put up a solid score for us? Where are you leaning with Goldsworthy at time of recording?
At time of recording, I'm still leaning out, and that's in part due to Taylor Levy still being named on as an emergency, even though she was rested last week with, managed with some mild knee soreness. It is just very much a case of I really am concerned that they will just play Zali full-time midfield, and this is the perfect matchup for someone like Zali. Zali plays sometimes like she wishes she was playing for Port Adelaide. I'd say that she's the more talented, Charizard to Ash Woodland in the way that they sometimes play and the role that they can sometimes get. And so it could be an absolutely ideal matchup for her. But just with the concerns that I have about it not just being a new injury, it's a re-aggravation, Taylor Levy still being as an emergency, so that screams to me they have a perfect option to bring in as a late change. I think I'm trading Zali out.
Yeah, and I'm currently leaning there as well. Tom, you obviously have just got back from being out and about today. So what are you looking at doing with your trades? Can I give you a little bit of time to look at what you're potentially doing?
Yeah, so I have the best defensive pick in all of fantasy, Jen Richardson, to leave my side. I've got Charlotte Wilson for cash. So with those 2 trades, I can get up to Maeve Chaplin in a 300k. And then I've got a spare trade. At the minute, because Jess Allen is named, I am debating doing Strom to Schultz as that extra trade. Because I think Schultz could go mentally against GWS lack of ruck. So that's kind of where I'm at. But that's been done off 5 minutes thought this week. So that may change. But I've got nothing to play for, so I kind of want to bring in players that I want to watch.
Yeah, that's probably a good
That's
thing,
where
right? For the last round, if you can't get top 100 or anything like that, whereas I'm sort of in two minds. I think 132 points is too far. But we'll give it a crack and we'll see how we go. So current trades at the moment for me, all forward trades at the moment, what they've been most of the week. So at the moment, it is Goldsworthy to Woodland, Laura Stone to Caitlin Gould, and Aileen Gilroy to Charlie Mullins. But with Goldsworthy named, do I go Swanson up to someone there? I've done a couple of options there where I've done that. So I'll look at that and consider. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting way to go. Liam, but I did say before you jumped on, I need you to give me some of that good luck that you've had the last 2 weeks, 1st and 7th overall, which quietly is just incredible. Average rank of, what's that, 4 per week or 3.5 or whatever the maths works out to be. But I need your luck, mate. So any words of wisdom for my final week of very, very unlikely hat chase?
Bales, I have some bad news for you. I don't know how I've managed to happen upon it. The only thing that I've done differently is bring in Charlie Mullins, and every other cheap forward has gone poorly. It's just like, the big points of difference is going to be avoiding a 40 across your field, and then one of your more unique F5, D5, F4, D4 options going at about 100. That's all I've essentially done the last 2 weeks. I've avoided any truly stinky scores from unpopular players. Like, Montana Ham scores a 60. I don't care. Like, she's someone that everybody has. I'm completely insulated from it. And on the other side, I've got Emma O'Driscoll, who goes, 70 plus, and I've avoided having to trade out. Sarah Goodwin, for example. It is just about minimizing those sub 50 scores from unique players, like, for example, Emma Swanson.
Jen Richardson.
Emma Swanson.
No, I wasn't even going to go that low, Tom. Sorry.
she managed 53 points in 2 weeks.
I got that from Emma O'Driscoll in 3 quarters.
Yeah, I got 3 points more than that from my F4 over a 3 week period. So that was brilliant. Yes.
One thing I would say about your trades, Bales, if you are serious about catching up the 130 points, I think you're bringing in players who are too highly owned. I think to make that many points, you have to pick a midfielder and pray they go for like 70. And pick one. Pick the most likely to go 70 and
midfielder or forward?
Midfielder. You've got
talking about trading out a midfielder that would go 70.
Yeah. So picking a Laura Gardner, you said she had some lower scores alongside Sophia Hurley. Trading her out to a Mon Conti who's got Gold Coast, and hoping Conti outscores her by 70 points. And that's how you're going to... Because Conti could easily go 140 against Gold Coast if she doesn't get a tag. As an example. However, if it goes wrong, you're going to drop in rank massively. And that's kind of what you just want to finish as high as you can and make the right trades? Or do you want to have a bit of a Hail Mary to get into the 100? Because I think there's 2 very different lines of trades you can make this week because of whichever way you want to go.
Yeah, I think if I was going to trade a mid, it's probably, and I don't like doing this because it's a 100th game tomorrow night, but it'd be Jazz Garner in the thoughts that she gets rested for a lot of the last quarter if they're up by 5-6 goals. That would be my thinking.
Yeah, like I said, I picked a random one. It's one of the 5. Or is it trade Atilia Lucas Rod, who's 100% owned in the top 100, or 97% owned in the top 100? Is it trade Serene Watson, who's 92% owned?
trouble is with defenders, I don't love a heap of the other options, right? And I think that's probably what people are finding as well. Yeah. No, and I know you're going to options, right? I'm just discussing.
I'm looking at the ownership figures. Because you're bringing in Ash Woodland, who's 89% owner top 100. You're just effectively covering off Woodland.
Yeah, probably because I think I'm worried that she goes massive because it's a good matchup against US. And because Eliza asked a question here saying Hail Marys to get in to the 100 from 190th. And I think, Tom, it's a good point is that you'd be looking at trading at a highly owned player in a position that's got a tougher matchup or you think might get rested or put up a lower score. Is that you'd probably be looking there as well, Liam? Is that something that if you're looking to firstly, is 100 I'm 132 points, Eliza would be 140, 150 points. Is that feasibly being able to be caught up, or do we think that it's probably just that little bit bridge too far?
Let me check. So I'm going to check how many points I was ahead of the average score for. So in round 10, when I finished first for round rank, I made up 129 points on 100.
Lol.
I wish I was making this up, but I'm not.
Lol. That's why I think you need to force the issue in the position which has the ceiling, which is the midfield.
And just to remind you, Bales, that week I didn't have Goodwin, who scored poorly. I didn't have Barnett, who scored very poorly. I can't remember who else was it. And then Hodder doesn't play. So it was 3, non-pods, anti-pods, had bad scores that were very popular in high ranks. And as a result, by not having any of them and just having solid players all around, I was able to get where I got to. And I think Tom makes a good point, which is if you look at the players that are highly owned, Bales, you want to bring in Ash Woodland, that's 89% of the top 100. I understand covering it off, but it probably, for every action, there must be an equal and opposite reaction. You probably need to going to chance your arm on either trading out someone who's above, say, 2/3 owned, or bringing in someone who's hyper unique in place of, let's call it a generic trade-in option. In terms of trading out a midfielder, I think it is one of the tougher weeks to do it because
100%.
Jazz Garner, as much as I think it's a great matchup for her at the moment, and she has the spectre of 100, the first player to 100 goals, and it's her 100th game.
Yeah.
And there's the additional bonus of a win in that game gets them the AFL, VFL, AFLW record for most consecutive games without a defeat.
Yeah.
But
we talk about the North
hard
resting.
to say definitively.
We talk about the North resting. I just think that they're just a machine. And just like the final quarter last week, Riddell and Garner were still playing full-time midfield when the game was well and truly put to bed. I just don't see. I think they're going to want to make a statement over a team that might be playing next week.
That being said, it was on 76% game time last week. Now, she did that and had 3 behinds and probably should have had 2 goals out of those 3 behinds.
Exactly.
But
she's so good.
St Kilda are a fascinating matchup for someone as good. I have not seen Jazz Garner and Ash Riddell have that much space around the stoppage for a long time. I will say, though, there were times where St Kilda were actually I don't know if anyone has had a chance to read it. I wrote an article about things that I think teams should be doing to stop North Melbourne. I did see a little bit of it from St Kilda, particularly, and it will be fascinating to see if this is something that gets applied in finals. When any of their North Melbourne defenders takes a mark laterally behind the ball, they quite often use the release kick completely laterally sideways short to free up space and angles. If you're able, you need to force them back off their mark and chip the ball, because if you don't come out of your zone and get onto the mark as quickly as possible, then they've got not only, space everywhere, they're all good kicks, but they don't have to layer it. They don't have to slow it down. I saw a little bit of that from St Kilda. I actually saw them try and Jesse Wardlaw did it a couple of times, playing as like the full forward, sprinting onto the mark when Libby Birch or someone has the ball and trying to kick it sideways. And it does actually stop North Melbourne from moving the ball as cleanly. We're completely off topic from fantasy at this stage. I'm now just using it as a chance to rant about North Melbourne. But getting back to it, like, I do think that North will, I don't know if it'll be like she doesn't come on the ground in the fourth quarter. It might be that Jazz Garner gets sat in the goal square in the fourth as they try and get her to 100 goals. That's what I can see happening.
Where she'll kick 3 goals, 1, and score 50 points.
It's
maybe in the last quarter alone,
in the last quarter alone. Sorry, I meant that in the last quarter, not in the game.
No, it's interesting.
Let's answer some questions for the
exactly.
people.
That's what I was going to go to. But I do think I'm too far behind. I'd have to have a top 10 week.
Yeah.
So
that's absolutely fine. Like, you can, I'm there. Join the Playing for Nothing crowd.
Yeah. Corey Badge got the first question. What are your thoughts on Jazz Stewart to loop on the bench this week as a forward option? Salim, I know you guys briefly mentioned her on the pod early in the week. Is that a potential option for Corey there?
Absolutely. Jazz Stewart is an option. Caitlin Gould is very cheap. She is an option. The other one that didn't get mentioned on the pod, but I think you can now talk about because Chloe Malloy definitely not going to play, is Beck Privatelli. Because she will then become a very important target inside 50. The Bombers just allowed whatever it was, 90-odd points to Anya McDonough. I think that if you are short of cash or you want a looper, that group of players is where you're looking.
Yeah. No, I don't mind that as an option there as well. What about Benji says? What about Georgia G as a forward loop potentially?
Georgia G up against Sydney. It's a tough one. I'm not entirely sure of what Sydney are like restriction-wise for wingers, because that's more what we've seen from Georgia G recently. She's getting higher up the ground, playing more of a wing role. See what DFS Australia has to say on the issue.
Yeah, $544K for Georgie as well. It's a little bit more
it's
expensive.
It's cheap enough now that I don't think it's a bad idea to go with her as a loop. Like, if you're able to afford it and get the upgrade you want, I'm not saying don't. Sydney this season have been the 5th most restrictive team for wing scoring. In the second half of the season, Sydney have been middle of the pack for wing defender scoring. In terms of forwards, though, I think they are better, and that's why it could be worthwhile going.
Yeah, I think I'm Caitlin Gould of all of them. I just worry about Jazz Stewart's 9-point second half last week and her scoring for the rest of the season. Like, she had an amazing first half, was absolutely awesome. I'm just a little bit worried. I think Caitlin Gould, she was a top 5 price forward at the start of the season. And a couple of umpire decisions go the other way last week, and she scored a 60. So,
yeah, I think the problem for Caitlin Gould is the fact that she's wearing, half of a plastic factory on her arm.
Yeah.
Like, that is a hefty splint.
It is, but my thoughts are she's going to be more comfortable this week. It's not her first run out. She knows how that feels now. I think she improved as the game went on last week. She became more confident in her wrist. So I think I'm just getting the best player, and Freo aren't a bad matchup.
Yeah, that's fair.
It'd be interesting to see if she wears the where's the risk protection or not this week, or maybe a week just to get the feel, and if it's off, so we'll have to see. But yeah, no, I don't mind Katie Good. Obviously, I'm looking at her.
Yeah, and
at the moment,
she can't get quadruple time, because you look at that Adelaide forward line named, and with it being Gould, Randall, Ponter, Rashid, and Jones, it's like, okay, that's an actual forward line for the Crows for the first time this year. Like it can't just be three people on Gould and then the rest just figure it out. Otherwise, they'll kick loads.
And I think Chelsea Randall being back as well, just with her and Gould in, I think that means Anne Hatchard's just going to be pure on ball. So if you do want a cheaper midfielder, Anne Hatchard, I think below 900k could be the way to go in that price range.
Yeah.
Mark Williams said, hello, guys. How far is outside the top 100 is too much to catch up? The way I'm looking at Mark, because obviously I'm looking at it, right, is that I think you've probably got to be within 60, 70 points this week to be a really good chance at maybe doing it. A couple of good pods go your way, maybe captain call. Anything outside of 100, I think, is unlikely. That's why I'm not as bullish on my chances of making it. So I think if you're within 70 points, I think you're a definite chance. I think if it's outside of 100, it's unlikely. And I think outside of 150s, then you're just not. Yeah. It's just not happening, right? So that's probably the way I'm looking at it there, Mark. So I hope that does help. Hopefully we can both get a hat in the end. Grant Fitzgerald, Eagles will win against Carlton tomorrow night and play finals for the first time. Yeah,
yes, we will.
No, I wouldn't mind the Eagles winning and getting into the finals there. Ghost Bakes, trading Barnett, need to stay cheap. Would you prefer Maloney or target the best matchup with either Katie Brennan against Gold Coast or even Beck Privatelli against Essendon? Tom, what are your thoughts? Maloney's up against Melbourne. I know Melbourne aren't necessarily difficult, right? But I feel the matchups they've got. I love the matchup for Maloney, but I know you've got Katie Brennan, and I know she put up a putrid score last week, but I like the matchup. So if I'm going there, I'm probably going Katie Brennan personally, or taking a punt on Privatelli as a bench loop maybe, and you can loop between her and Barnett maybe.
Yeah. So we're looking at Katie Brennan's last four: 83, 26, 75, 27.
So it means this week
she's on for a 68, 69 this week, then, just based on the way those scores are treated.
I think you could do a lot worse than Katie Brennan, but I think I would go cheaper. I probably would go to Gould, if I'm honest, and just sit. What can you do with that extra 100k? Can you get the next best?
Oh, Ghost Bake said he's already got Gould last week from Trans and Crowd. So there you go.
Read one down would be really great from me. I think I prefer Maloney or Brennan to Privatelli. I don't know what Privatelli's ceiling is going to be, even in a really nice matchup.
Yeah, I think I agree as well. Privatelli's a good one to loop if you're on the bench there, but you're probably not one to play straight on at F5. And also, but just thinking about players in roller coasters, Mark, that I do the Game Day Squad show on the Wednesday nights, put up a graph of Jessie Wardlaw. Every game this year has gone up, down, up, down. She's scored lower the week after, then higher the week. It's quite funny, but I think this is the week that she actually scores more than that. So that's just an interesting tidbit there for any Jessie Wardlaw owners. I think she might end off with a good score. Carl says 125th overall. Where do I go with trades? Barnett is trade at number 1. I've entertained Garner to Rowbottom. He's also looking at going Goldsworthy to Mullins, Garner to Rowbottom, Barnett to a forward, can't afford Hodder. So, Liam, is it, with those trades being 125th, is it probably too risky to trade Garner out because you're close enough to the top 100 that you just hold?
I think so. I don't know if you need to chase that hard and trade out one of those top mids. You kind of seen that it's not it's not been the midfield that's been able to change fortunes at this stage in terms of round rankings. It is your defenders and forwards. I think I would, and I think if and captain. I think this week is going to be, captains wise. I think it will be a case of if you are thinking you will need to make up a lot of ground, hope that Noffy has a dreadful game. Go on someone who can get a massive score. So pick one of Gardner, Riddell, or Garner as your VC, and hope they go 170, and then Noffy's a 130, and that might be where you make up your points. I don't think it's in trading out Jazz Garner, who, might get some lower game time. It might impact my confidence in saying she's a VC option, but if she were to sit forward, she can still kick 3 or 4 goals.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
he's 51 points off. He's 51 points off. Sorry, just did some maths. One thing I would definitely do, Carl, is if you're trading a bench player down as part of your trades, bring it in a Freo or an Adelaide player so you can have a red dot from that team, so you can use them as the loop, so you can decide whether you feel like you need to go against the VC crowd. Because so you can go a Bowers or a Marinoff in that final game, as against a 130 that Riddell might put up game 1. You might be able to take that. You might have to go against it to gain the extra points that you need. So that would be my other little tip. Make sure you can leave your last captaincy decision as late as possible.
There is a handy list of options at the bottom of Fantasy Fix this week. But if you are looking for a defender or a forward, Holly Egan is the defensive option, Frederick K, Fremantle. And then Georgia McKee is the forward option, Frederick K, Adelaide forward. Both of whom are injured, ACL, not going to play. You do not need to worry. No, Brooke Vickers owners who I saw at least 2 people who've had Brooke Vickers as their VC loophole player last week, who was a late in for Abby McKay. And so they doubled Brooke Vickers' highest score of the season, which was, I think, like a 62, but then missed out on taking Marinoff or Gardner.
Yeah, it's a cruel game, that's for sure. AFL Fantasy, but obviously Lehman's the captain's expert. It's a bit of, as you mentioned, we're bringing in the red dots this week. So a lot of people wanted Grace Koch or Lulu Field, which Lulu Field plays on Friday night, and then Grace Koch plays first game Saturday. So unless you're trading in a red dot, it's got to be one of those options, I'm assuming, on the Friday. So sort of where you're looking at with captains this week, and I guess that probably the thing that a lot of people are wondering is it Garner or is it Riddell for VC?
I think it is Riddell. But I think if you are looking, like, I think we've seen Jasmine Garner have 160s more in her career than Riddell has. Riddell is such a consistent 115 to 125 because she accumulates so much, she doesn't get the goals. If you're really feeling like you need to chase, then, and you can't take anyone after Friday night, then it's Garner. At the moment, like, straight bat option, I had actively, and I had put Laura Gardner as the second best captaincy option of the week, VC wise, because of her recent form. This was kind of before knowing that Sophia Hurley would be back. I'm still weighing up if I think that truly impacts her scoring. I get the sense that they do sometimes occupy each other's space around stoppage, but Hurley's coming off a long break, and they probably need her to spend some time forward too, given that Cynthia Hamilton is now also out and Chloe Malloy is not coming back this season. So, and she's also and Sophia Hurley is such a clean player around goals. So, I think I still lean Gardner, but I'm not as certain as I was on Tuesday when I wrote the list down.
Tom?
If Essendon wasn't such a good matchup, there'd be a conversation around Montana Ham as to antipod. But I think with Essendon being such a good forward matchup, I think Montana Ham's going to play more forward time.
I think that she's such an important part of their ball movement, though, because she does move it in very different ways to Gardner. They really do complement each other so well.
What in the general direction they're trying to kick it?
Yeah, in terms of the spaces that they take up at stoppage and how they look to sprint, move by hand, hit certain targets, kick the ball inside 50, 1-2s, all that kind of stuff. They are not the same player, and it's good variety to have for a competent stoppage team. They are a balanced pair.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'll be interested to see what happens with that Sydney midfield this week. Do have a correct question from Corey here. Liam, I'm interested to get your thoughts on who would you choose between Charlie Robon and Gab Newton this week. So I think for me, they're my two favourite mids if you're going for a midfield squad. I'm nervous about the Mon-Conti tag. I just don't know if there's going to be the ceiling there, if there is any sort of attention. How would you choose between Robon and Newton?
That is a tough one. I have been hotter on Newton for almost the entire season, so I will lean there. And her recent form is incredible. At least in the last 2 weeks, she has overtaken Bowers, I think, in scoring.
Yeah, exactly. Just have a look. So 2, 4, 6. I'm just having a look. So just getting an average up. So her last 6 weeks, she's averaging 113.5 Gab Newton, and that's with an 83 in there as well. So she's been in very, very good form. And Charlie Rowbottom has only gone 1 score below 100 since round in the same time frame as well. So they're very, very, very close to each other. Tom, if you had to pick between the two.
I think I've been under selling Gab Newton, so I think I'll go there. I think Gab Newton will hit all of the stat lines a bit more than Charlie does.
Yeah. I'm Gab Newton, I think, as well. But I think Rowbottom had a 7-mark effort a couple of weeks ago. She had 4 against Hawthorn, 3 against Brisbane. So marks were going okay last few. It's only just the one last week there. Would either of you guys go Mon-Conti over the two, or do we think that the risk of a tag just rules her out just because the other two are good options as well with good matchups?
I think if you'd asked me this time last week, I would have said I would absolutely go Mon-Conti. But at this stage, I do prefer those other two over Mon-Con.
I did go Mon-Conti last week with the Yellow Rovers late out, and I'm quite happy to have her this week. But I do see the possibility of a tag, and which could happen.
And this is like,
I don't know why you'd tag in round 12.
Well, why would you tag in round 11, right? So, when it hasn't been something that's been consistently done by single, it's actually been more Brancatisano than anyone else. Reshaw defies, all common and reasonable expectations when it comes to coaching. And this is the tough thing, right? We're not being asked, who do we like for the rest of the season? Who do we think is the better player? It's the final round is just like, who's going to score more this week? That's literally the only point of it. And it is a much more difficult prospect because variance can impact things massively. So, like, if Mon-Con is the highest scorer of those three, I'm not going to be shocked. I'm not going to sit here and pound my fist on the table saying this is an outrage. How dare this happen? I could never have seen it coming. It's just, push comes to shove, weight things up. Yeah, maybe I feel more confident in the other two.
I think if Mon-Con gets off the chain, even if you don't start with a tag could come mid-game, which might limit it to maybe a 125 where the others could go more with no real tag.
Yeah, there's no chance Gab Newton's getting a tag. I think that's the main thing as well.
Yeah, I think it's Gab. If you can do something with the money, because Gab Newton's quite expensive. That's the other thing. Like, Conti is 200k cheaper.
Yeah.
If you can do something which you can get up to a hodder with that 200k, I think I prefer Hodder and Conti as a pairing.
So what is the difference in price? 1.342 million for Newton and then Conti is 1.175, so 170k, give or take.
It's a lot of money. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And then
what's Rubon?
I was just more thinking, like, who could you get as a forward if you know, who? Or I need to double check this. Who would you prefer, Moncon and Mullins? Moncon and Hodder, or Mullins and Newton?
I think it's Hodder. I think.
I think probably Mullins and Newton.
Oh.
Just because both could pop, but then the other two could pop as well, right? So it's a tough one. No, it's
because I think they're nearly the same sum total price.
Where
I need to get a calculator
where's Mullins playing? This is my. But there's a couple of nice ins there for Brisbane this week. I just worry that she gets pushed out of this lovely wing on ball hybrid role that she scored really nicely in the last couple of weeks.
I just think that the hybrid role is just go find space and we like your kicking. Like, it's a bit Nick Martin-y for those that play men's fantasy.
Yeah, she can just roam around.
Dana Finney.
It is a little bit Dana Finney, but I would say that she's more in and under than Finn.
Yes.
Finn takes more marks. Finn has more marks than anyone else in the competition this year, which is truly remarkable.
Yeah.
I got that so wrong.
Oh, it's one of those ones that you put. Eliza McNamara was the same thing last year. You could not, and I don't think we could be reasonably sitting here going, "Oh, we should have seen that. We should have seen that coming." The third-year player from Ireland for one of the lowest transition mark teams in the competition in 2024 comes out and has the most marks in the competition, beating out her teammate Harriet Cordner as well.
Yeah, who's taken 1 million intercept grabs.
Yeah. Yes, and also in fact, and highlight it. Hinting at an article that might come out tomorrow. Dana Finn leads all players, obviously, in marks, but leads all midfielders in intercepts per game.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, very good. Very good year.
It's wild, right? So just know that you have gone with an uber high variance case in saying don't bring in Dana Finn. I don't think anyone could have seen this coming.
Well, people did.
Yeah.
Oh, I two high heroes that brought her in, and everyone else is going, "Oh, would have been nice."
Yeah. All I want to see though is Dana Finn just has to be on the wing in the All-Australian team. I swear, if they don't put her on the wing, I'll be pretty
outraged.
Annoyed. Yeah. Neil has got this question here. Thoughts on Goldsworthy to Mullins and Stone to Brody Mowbray? Liam, what are your thoughts on Brody Mowbray's option? He scored like a 90 last week.
Sorry,
25 touches or something.
Who was the first? What was the first trade?
Goldsworthy to Mullins.
And then Stone to Mowbray. Jeez. Like, I think that Brody Mowbray is one of the most bang average footballers in the AFLW on her best day. If Zali Goldsworthy is playing, Mowbray will not come near the centre bounce midfield, I don't think. And that's why she scored well last week, because she did spend some time inside. I don't love it. I really don't love it. And I would take a stab on a key forward, because there are just going to be that many scoring. There are going to be that many chains of possession for GWS where Brody Mowbray will not only not be involved, but she will never even be considered as a potential endpoint. At the very least, for Gould and Brennan and Privatelli, you can make an argument that, like, any possession chain that starts and is expected to go into the forward line, they will be in and amongst the most likely players to end up with the ball.
Yeah. Agreed. And if you got 7K more as well, I'd rather it. If you want a Giants forward, I'd rather Tony Evans if you're going for a Giants forward.
That's what I was going.
But then the other real pod as well that I don't mind looking at it today was she hasn't been as good this year for fantasy wise. So she hasn't gone over 80 since round 2. But with Randall and Gould back in, I wonder if that puts Danielle Ponta more in the ball as well, and if she ends off with a good score. So she's 616K. You got Brennan there as well. I think there's a few options we'd rather around there, Neil, instead. But yeah, no, that's where it'd go. Ghost Bakes. I know that was from before. He said original trade plans, Godsweather too good, Barnett to Maloney and Grider to Katie Lynch. I don't mind those trades. They're good. They're good trades.
Don't mind those trades.
Probably prefer those, I think, than the first first option you sent through. I think
I quite like Katie Lynch as a bit of a match-up stab.
Yeah,
for so long as Neve's not playing that much time in defence and nabbing all of the good transition movement, then Katie Lynch has proven herself to be capable of a pop score, even if it was a long time ago.
She's got 360s this year. She's played 3 games and scored 360s. Now has a great matchup. I think can do far worse.
Yeah.
For 7, 15, whatever she is.
Yeah, agreed. Carl says Goldsweet and Mullins, Garnett, a Robon, and Barnett to a 4. Yes, we said that from before. I know Liam just about to head off as well, but Liam, I do want to ask you a quick question. You were saying before about Reshaw, he anoints with a few things he's done. What's the power rankings looking like for coaches that makes Liam's blood boil the most between GWS, St Kilda, and Gold Coast? I'm sure that they're the tops. What's the rankings with the 3?
That's I could cop out and say it changes week to week. I will say that I can see that there are moments where St Kilda are competent enough and they allow Serene Watson to be their best player, so they are not at the bottom. And I will say that I am willing to admit that Tani Evans has looked excellent as a forward this season. And that is a decision that I had previously decried from Bernasconi. So he is not at the bottom. So you put together who I think should be ranked lowest.
So I said based on that, I think based on that, Gold Coast has gone to number 1 most anoints for Liam. Then it goes probably, I'd say there maybe Giants to St Kilda.
I can
and I agree.
I can confirm or deny those rankings or how I feel overall. I will just say that there are reasons to think that maybe there are some players who I don't rank at the bottom.
I like that. Final 2 questions and we'll wrap up is from Benji. Who scores more this week, Indy Tahoe or Blaine Bogue? I think we'd go Indy Tahoe for the matchup.
Indy, I think.
Just I don't love.
Although I don't mind Blavine without Kate Sheila, so she's going to be very much a target up there for North.
Just don't love the game being in Frankston.
Frankston is the problem. The only question on Tahoe is the return of Tackle.
Yeah.
How does it all work?
Surely she doesn't play back.
No, it's more just
she's in for gone.
Is there just another person to steal marks and goals? Because Tiku was someone that they thought was going to be better than Tahoe, and it's part of the reason Tahoe started in defence is that's where she'd been training more frequently. So I think I lean Tahoe for the matchup and the conditions and her run of form. She's been incredible. But I don't hate taking a stab at Blaine, blah, blah, because she's just, like, if you want to talk fun players to watch, she's incredible.
And I've thought about that. I've known it all year, and I actually thought about if I really just can't be bothered trying to chase a hat, I'm tempted to bring her into the forward line just to watch her at least once this season in my fantasy team. Final question as well from Haz. Who would you guys as a 7 and 16K forward or cheaper? Currently thinking Greiser for the Gold Coast matchup. Thanks. So, final thoughts, boys. Just give us a name that for your favourite sort of cheaper forward option. So, Liam, we'll start with you.
Cheaper forward option to have a stab at. See, this is the thing I don't actually. I don't know if I love anyone in that 700K range. For the ceiling, you have a stab at Greiser for plus or minus 15 on a 62.
Yeah. Yep, like it. Tom?
I think I'm going with Caitlin Gould and do something fun with the 240k.
Yep. Yeah, I like it. And I'll go different as well. I'll go Katie. I like Katie Brennan at 605k. I'll go a bit in the middle of the price range there. So hopefully that's a few options for you there if you have got a few options. But that will do us for another pre-lockout chat. So for those that missed it before, Liam, your trades and your VCNC this week.
Trades are Goldsworthy to Hodder, Annabelle Johnson down to Grace Egan. I'll decide who Lauren Young goes to at some point later in the weekend. And VC at the moment is Gardner into Marinoff C.
Yeah, like
Good luck, mate.
Thank
Tom,
you.
Just in case you have to go.
Oh no, yeah, Liam, do you have to go? Like, if you got to go right now, then we can.
I do have to leave, lads. I'll
cool. No,
round.
Thank you for jumping on very much, Liam, and we'll chat to you soon. And good luck in the Content Creators Cup Grand Final against Eloise.
Yeah, hopefully I've got an actual few points of difference. Cheers.
Thanks, Liam. Beautiful. Thanks to Liam for jumping on as well, giving up his time on Thursday night. Tom, your trades and your VCNC.
So I think I'll be doing Riddell into Marinoff. My trades are looking something like I'm a little bit unknown this. Ruby Richardson, Wilson, and maybe Tilly Lucas Rod. Maybe. Oh no, it's not. It's not. It's the first two. It's Richardson, Wilson, and Mimstrom to Erica O'Shea, Matilda Schultz, and 300k. Whoever ends up being my 300k.
Yeah. Yep, I like him. And then for me, at the moment, I may change these trades, but at the moment it is Laura Stone down to Caitlin Gould, Aileen Gilroy to Charlie Mullins, and Zali Goldsworthy to Ash Woodland. But if I keep that or not, I've got some other trades I may just play around with and see if I am keen on doing that. And then my VCNC, I've currently got the VC on the midfielder I would have probably traded out of the 5, but Jazz Garner's my VC just with the bigger ceiling, I think, just with she could kick 3 or 4 goals, have 30 touches and rack up. But I can only go one of those two because I got Lou Field and Grace Koch, my 2 red dots, and I've got a few players one trade out. Well, I can't bring a red dot, so that's where I'm looking at going. But that'll do us for the final pre-lockout chat of the season. So obviously, for me and Tom, thank you for everyone that's tuned in live on the Friday afternoons or the Thursday nights. Obviously, we've been going between the two. Obviously, we just would free kick, not one conflict and go at the same time. So if you're tuning in those nights, we appreciate that. And if you've put your questions in, like, subscribe, all that, that's very much appreciated. But we still have one more pod. Season recap will be probably dropping Monday at this stage. So, we'll be reviewing it around. But Tom, thanks for jumping on for another pre-lockout chat. Where can people find you across the socials?
You can find me at Tom_Hales_, although I probably will be going into hibernation for a few months to recharge the batteries after 11 months of AFL and AFLW Fantasy. Ready for the new year.
Yeah, with some brand new pods on the Fanatics for Tom. That is going to be a whole lot of fun. And you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials and us at AFL Fantasy Fans on X. And I'll probably still be active throughout the off-season as well. Mainly just if Australia are beating England, I'll be tagging Tom and saying it's going pretty good. So there you go. If you did enjoy the video, smash a like on the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your pods, 5-star rating and review would be very, very much appreciated. And we'll catch you guys for our last pod of the season. Our season review will be dropping early next week. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Good luck for the final round of the year. If you're in the competition for Hilux, good luck. And if you're in looking at getting a hat, good luck as well. Hopefully I can join you with the outside chance I've got. And if you're in league finals or you've got another goal set, top 1,000, top 2K, whatever your goal is, good luck for that. Hope you enjoy the weekend and enjoy some AFLW footy. So thanks, everyone, and enjoy round 12. See ya.
Bye.